In this video, we're going to cover advanced segmentation. So if you're here, if you don't want to know if you're in the right place for this, this is likely for you if you are getting leads, but there's either not enough of them, they're too expensive, or they're just not worth enough. So if any of those three, you're in the right place, this is for you. I want to equip you with the tools and strategies to identify high-value leads through segmentation and optimize lead forms that are going to turn into a higher ROI. So kind of open first with a question. So we pulled our members and asked them this question: why aren't you getting enough leads? I'm curious to see kind of in general what people blame that on in terms of, the leads they're getting. I always need more leads, need more leads, need more leads. And the types of things that we heard were, first, my market isn't big enough. Traffic costs are too high. We hear that all the time. Traffic costs are too high. They keep getting higher. The targeting options on Facebook and Google aren't as effective as they used to be. The traffic we're getting doesn't seem interested in what we're offering. And the realization that we had is that pretty much all of these beliefs can be summed up into one single word. That's traffic. I just can't get the right traffic I need to scale. And so I'm going to share something that you may not want to hear, but it's something we hear all the time. And that is, there's no such thing as a traffic problem. You'll hear Ryan quote this. So it's a re-quote of something that he said time and time again. But there truly is no such thing as a traffic problem. So if you thought that, if you're thinking that, or if you're blaming that for the leads, for not getting enough leads, not getting the right leads, not getting high quality enough leads, let me go ahead and prove it to you why this is the case. So what Ryan will also share with you is this anecdote. So initially, if what we're saying is I'll give you $10 for every visitor who comes to your site, that's great. Facebook is going to optimize to try and get people for that $10, but there's going to be competition. There's going to be people that want to spend more and want to attract those people to their site as well. But what if instead we are able to go, I'll give you $100 for every visitor who comes to your site. Really 10x what we're able to spend to acquire a customer, because the fact of the matter is all marketing works at some acceptable acquisition cost. So the wrong question that we hear people ask all the time is, well, how do I just get more cheap leads? I need cheaper leads. How do I get more of them? How do I get more of them? It's just this question that we hear time and time again. We see in the communities. It's pain points that people say they have. But the flip side of that is that the right question to be asking? And in our opinion, it truly isn't. I mean, if you think about it, only a fool would ask, how can I get a Ferrari for $10,000, right? Unless it's a junker that's wrecked that'll never roll again. If you're looking for a Ferrari, you're not going to get one for $10,000. So this is the wrong question to be asking. Instead, what we want to be asking is, how can I craft an offer that enables me to profitably purchase all the leads I want? Literally have the ability to just go on down to the lead store and buy all of them that you want. So once you write this down, he or she who is willing and able to invest the most to acquire a lead wins. Now you might be asking, how can I spend more on lead acquisition? Everyone is always trying to figure out how to get cheaper clicks, how to get cheaper traffic, how to get cheaper leads, when what they should be truly focusing on is increasing lead value so that they're able to invest more and squeeze out the competition, right? Again, going back to, if person A is willing to spend $10 because that's all they can afford to acquire a lead, but I'm willing to spend $100 because I know what that lead is worth, I'm always going to win. I'm always going to be the competition that squeezes you out. So we have to change that narrative and that thought to how can we be able to afford to spend more, invest more to increase our lead volume. So what's our solution to this? It comes down really simply to something that we like to say or call flip the funnel. This is a strategy that is, it's taken us 5-6 years to develop in different testing and different ideas. But what we want to do is figure out, how do we flip the traditional funnel and focus on higher quality leads who spend more so that we can afford to then spend more to get more leads, right? It's very cyclical in that sense. So if you think about the traditional low to high entry point funnel, we've been teaching this for years at Digital Marketers, the tripwire funnel, anything from acquisition, start super low, send them up through the funnel, through upsells, and then eventual back-end assumption. It worked for a long time. It really did. But as traffic costs increased and as costs were scaling, we just saw the decrease in that performance. There just wasn't mathematically ways to make it work. We might be able to make a funnel work that we could go spend $500 or $1,000 through profitably, but at any sort of scale, as we're looking to grow the business, we're unable to truly spend enough at a positive ROI. So if this doesn't work, then what does? The shift we need to make in mindset is focusing on quality over quantity. So what it looks like to flip the funnel is, instead, from this free offer, what we want to do is go in and create a way to show our highest priced core offer to our highest value leads. This has been a huge game changer for us and has allowed us to really increase our return on ad spend across the board to where we're getting, anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12x return on ad spend just from this flip alone in the way we approach things. And then from there, obviously, we'll finish the rest of the funnel, but in a little bit of reverse. Now, when you look at that, you're like, okay, great. So I should just take a super high-end offer, move it to the front of my funnel. The most expensive thing I sell, just sell it to them first. But you can't just do that. The problem is you can't make this offer to everyone, because you will end up scaring off 80 to 90% of your future customers. And it can be really, really dangerous to show them this high-ticket, high-priced offer if they're not ready to buy right now, which is why we need to segment. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So when the leads are coming through and they're opting in, really, we found 3 main buckets of leads in different stages they come through our lead funnels in. The first one is our never stage. So these people are unqualified. They're never going to actually spend a dime with you. It just is what it is. We all get them. They're the tire kickers. They're just poking around. They're testing a funnel, whatever it might be. These people are never. Now, this typically is a low percentage of the leads we're getting. It's probably 5 to 10%, but it's ones that aren't worth focusing on, right? They might be on our newsletter list. They'll get our content. That's fine, but they're never going to buy. The vast majority of the leads we get fit into this stage, the later. I'm looking to buy, but not right now. I'll make a purchase with you, or I may make a purchase with you, but it's not going to be today. It's not going to be right now. And this really makes up, call it 80 to 90% of the leads that we're getting that are kind of in that later state, that you're going to nurture, that you're going to send. They're going to make smaller purchases down the road, whatever that might be. But what we want to focus on is the people that are in that top sphere, the ones that are ready right now to make a purchasing decision. It's the person that shows up to a car lot. Car salesmen will say, if someone shows up on the lot, they want to buy a car. It's very seldom that someone walks on a car lot not actually ready to make a purchasing decision. Now, they are in the market for a car. They will buy that car from someone, but that's not necessarily you. And that's what we want to figure out today, is how do we position it so it's from you. So this really kind of ready right now to make buying purchase will end up being about 3 to 6% of the leads that you get as they come through that are looking for that right solution, that high price solution that's going to make your ad spend have a much higher return. But the problem is we don't know who those 3 to 6% are. In the standard funnel that we have set up, we're not getting much data, not much information. We don't know who they are, so we can't make the high price offer to them. So we default to the low ticket funnel, or whatever your funnel might be, webinar, anything along those lines. We default there because we just don't know who they are. So we don't know how to serve them that right offer and not potentially cannibalize the later segment by kind of scaring them off with too big of an offer. So that's what we want to solve today. So we want to shift from the outdated one-size-fits-all funnels to a segmentation-first approach, focusing on high-value leads who are ready to convert and spend more than average. So 4 steps. I'm going to walk you through it and get you to a point where you can segment off your high-value leads and make them your higher-end offers that allow you to make a higher ROI on your ad spend. So step 1 is we're going to identify our high-value segments. I have a very simple formula to this. So our Goldilocks leads that Ryan talked about back in module 2, I believe it was, So we want to figure out who's that Goldilocks lead. Plus, they're ready right now. They're in that 3 to 6% I just showed you. That's going to be your high value segment. These are the people we want to focus on siphoning off and being able to make that best offer to that higher priced offer that we get the highest return on investment. So what I want you to do is go back and ask yourself this question, just like Ryan had you ask before. Which customer segments are 10x more valuable than the average, and how can we get them to raise their hand? That's the big difference right now. There is how can we get them to raise their hand? So a couple pieces on that. First is how to identify your 10x leads. How do you know who is more valuable? There's a few different ways that you can do that. The first one being analyze historical data, finding patterns in your revenue, in your LTV, in purchase frequency. If you've got a CRM, a marketing automation, all this data should be at your fingertips. So what I'd recommend doing is go pull a list of your top 5 to 10% of your customers and look at who they are, what purchasing decisions they make, when they bought, how long were they on your list. Did they make multiple purchases? Did they make that one big purchase? What was the first interaction they had with you? What was the final interaction they had with you before they convert? Looking at all those pieces will give you some patterns and some ideas behind who they are. The more data that you have, the better. It's also something you could export a spreadsheet out of your CRM and upload that into ChatGPT to have it analyzed as well, which it does a great job at. So that's kind of the first and probably the best way possible. Next one will be tracking their buying signals, looking for behaviors like pricing page visits or other high engagement, pain point alignment. This one isn't as necessarily action-based, but who are those high value segments that align most with the pain point that you solve and have an urgent need to solve that problem. The other one is competitor analysis. Just research who are your competitors targeting and analyze why those segments might be valuable. And last, but certainly not least, you can just test it. If you've got a couple guesses on who's going to be that ultimate ready now to buy high value lead, we can test it with a couple of different questions and form options that we're going to talk about. So once we know who we're looking to get, once we know who those 10x leads are, who are more valuable than the rest, that's when we want to move on to what we call crafting your ready now questions. These questions are your filters. This is how we're going to get that 3 to 6% of the people that are ready right now to raise their hand to make them an offer at that higher price and higher ROI. So why these ready now questions matter. First, gives you the opportunity to qualify high value leads by assessing their urgency, fit, and budget. We'll dig into that in a second. It's really going to help maximize your ROI by focusing on the prospects ready to buy right now. Again, kind of mentioned in the past, in that traditional kind of low to high funnel, we were excited with, as ad costs rise, to get like a 1 to 2x return on ad spend. At least we were getting our money back right away. We could look to increase that now that the person's a customer. But by making this switch and really siphoning off those 3 to 6% of the ideal high value segment leads, we've taken that to more of a, like I said, 8 to 10 to 12x return on ad spend for our funnels. It reduces your waste of time on unqualified leads. It gives you an opportunity to focus on the right people and not just kind of spray and pray with your messaging and your focus, your attention. It's especially great if you have a sales team. We don't want our sales team wasting 40% of their time on unqualified leads who can't and won't ever buy from you. Another one is simpler questions equal higher completion rates and better insights. And they act as a powerful filtering tool for more efficient sales efforts. Again, really, really great if you have a sales team as well. So you might be asking, how do I pick these questions, or what questions do I ask? And we've got a formula for that. We call it the Ready Now formula. And there's 3 key attributes of effective questions to ask. That's the key, is we want to make sure we're asking the right questions. Easy enough to just throw a question on a form and away you go. We got to make sure it's the right question or right questions that we're asking. So the first attribute is urgency. The question that we're going to ask to our ideal customer, and this is an example of what we're trying to get from an urgency question, is we're going to use this exact question. I'll show you some examples in a minute, but the general vibe of the question is this a problem you need to solve in the next 30 days? Is there urgency behind solving the problem? The next one is budget. That one is, do you have a budget allocated for solving this problem? Great. So do you need it? Solve it now. Do you have the money to do it? And third is fit. Are you actively looking for a solution to a problem that we happen to solve? And so those are the three key attributes of these effective Ready Now questions. And what this gives us is, as we're looking through and how these things come together, first and foremost is if we've got someone that's answering questions in which we know they've got urgency and budget, it means you've got a motivated lead. That lead is motivated to make a buying decision, right? They've got the urgency to do it. They've got the money to do it. They are motivated to make a purchasing decision. Next, if they've got the budget and they're a fit, they're qualified, right? Because they're actively looking for a solution to the problem that we solve, and they have budget for it, but they don't have urgency right now. So they're qualified, but they don't have that urgency, right? So motivated, qualified, and last, if they're a fit, they have urgency, then they're engaged, right? So they're actively looking for a solution, that's that engagement, and they have an urgent need to solve their problem. So what we get from asking these types of questions is we know that we understand these people coming through, these leads coming through, they're motivated, they're qualified, they're engaged. If we can figure out the people who are all three, then what we know is that we have leads that are ready now to make a purchase with us at our highest potential return on investment. So let's give you some examples of these types of questions. First example I'm going to give would be in the health and fitness space. So some questions might be, are you looking to start achieving your fitness goals this month? That would give you some urgency. How much do you spend each month on a gym membership? Would give you budget. Another way to ask that question would be like, what type of gym do you go to? Like, oh, I go to my apartment gym, or I go to a community type of YMCA gym. I go to a kind of budget friendly gym, or I go to our high-end full service gym where they take care of everything for me. If you know those different levels of gym memberships, you can attribute to that a budget of what they spend, what type of money do they invest in their health and fitness. The next one being, have you struggled to stay consistent with workouts or meal plans in the past? That's a fit. Are they actively looking for a problem that we solve, or looking to solve a problem that we can help them with? And so maybe what it is, like, they're working out, but they just can't stay consistent with their workout meals or plans in the past. So they're looking for an option that will help them with that. So that would indicate a fit. Some examples from like SaaS and software. First, is your team struggling to manage projects and deadlines effectively? That's going to give you some urgency behind it, right? Because if I'm, let's say, a business owner, a VP, manager, whatever it is, and my team is struggling on a regular basis to manage projects and hit their deadlines, I've got some urgency, especially if those deadlines and projects align to revenue. Next is how much do you currently spend on project management tools? It's a great example of a budget. Are they spending money on project management tools already, or anything related to that? A great example of fit question here. Does your team rely on email and spreadsheets for project management, find it inefficient? If I've got a project management software, then that should be a bullseye for me, right? Helping them move off of spreadsheets and email into a more efficient, holistic solution. The next example we've got is from e-commerce. So this is, for this example, for urgency, are you currently looking for eco-friendly hair care products? Now, this is not necessarily the most urgent of need per se, but what is key in that is that we're there currently, right? Are you in the market for eco-friendly hair care products that'll give you a level of urgency? Are you ready to switch to a premium sustainable hair care solution that fits your needs? Keyword there, premium, right? People understand with premium, it's going to cost more, it's going to be more expensive, and they're going to have a little bit more budget to spend it if it's important to them, right? And last one being, do you prefer hair care products that are free from harmful chemicals and packaged sustainably? That'd be more of a fit. Like, is that important to your ideal customer in having hair care products that are free from harmful chemicals and packaged sustainably? If that's not important to them, and that's what your brand is built around, then they may not be the ideal right now fit. Doesn't mean they're not going to buy from you in the future, but they're probably not that ideal right now fit that's looking to make a buying decision. Next example from home services. This one might be from like a solar company. Would you like to lower your energy bill in the next 30 days? That's great from an urgency. It's very specific. I'm sure a lot of people with energy costs would love to lower the energy bill in the next 30 days and make a move for that. Next, for a budget and like a pest control business, are you looking for affordable pest control options with guaranteed results? That's really great to know from a budget standpoint, important to them. Fit, have you tried DIY pest control but need a professional solution to solve your problem, to solve the problem? So you've tried it, so they have that pain, right? They have that pain of, I've tried to do my own pest control, whatever it might be, ants, mice, whatever it is. I've tried it on my own. Clearly, if I'm looking at pest control, it's not working, and I know I need a professional to solve this problem. That's going to give you an ideal insight into their fit. So those are the type of questions we're looking for these ready now questions, and looking and saying what are 1 to 2 of them that we can get and understand. That with those questions, they really give us that insight into around who's ready now. Now, in terms of fit, the nice thing is our lead magnet itself typically will cover that fit, right? That's when we go back to the problem statement that we solve. So a lot of times what we're actually worried about asking for is more along the way of urgency and budget in these questions with 1 to 2 questions. More so than fit, depending on the lead magnet style that we have. Most of those are addressing the ideal problem statements and solutions for that. Then we're probably already attracting the person that is a fit. So that's why we do so much work in the problem statements to extrapolate out that lead magnet, because it is tough to ask question after question after question from just a simple lead form. So step 3 now would be add the questions to your form. This is pretty simple. Depending on what form builder you have, should be easy enough to add another field. A couple different types that we recommend, 3 actually in total when it comes to adding question. First one being a drop down. In this case, this one is, which best describes where your company is today. This is one we use for revenue, obviously under 500K, 500K to 2 million. So we've got some drop down selections in there that's going to give us some really clear qualification. In this case, this is an example of a budget question in that it gives us a general ballpark of the type of cash flow they have to make an investment in their business. Next type would be like a yes, no toggle, also known as a radio button. In this case, one we use for digital marketer all the time is, are you an agency or marketing consultant? Yes or no. All we're asking there is a very simple, are you this ideal customer, right? So if you've got a couple of different offers, in our case, a digital marketer, we've got lab and we've got training for marketers, for career marketers and entrepreneurs, but we also have this other program that is for agencies, consultants and coaches called Certified Partners. So we want to be able to separate out those journeys because it's not necessarily going to make sense on some of our offers to go to a marketing agency versus giving them the exact dead on offer to see and get them into that funnel. So that's another great way to do it. Another way to do it is as a 2-step. In this case, we're just going to capture normal opt-in information so we don't sacrifice any conversion rate. Then after they opt in, we're going to ask a couple more questions. So in this case, it's your download's on the way. Please fill out 2 quick questions to deliver your relevant, high-value content you truly care about. Now, the one thing about this 2-step approach is you won't get 100% completion after your opt-ins. Typically, we're looking at 30 to 40% that'll give us this information, but that's 30 to 40% of people that we're able to then say who of those people might be ready now to make that buying decision. So in this case, role, that's going to give us authority. Are they in a place where they can make a buying decision? Do they have the authority and likely the budget? And also, what is the size of your marketing team? That question can both address need and budget, right? Because if I've got a big team, then it may be something where I need some help with their team training, making sure my team is all trained up in marketing. I also probably likely have a larger budget. So we're going to change the messaging that we have to those people. So these questions are really helping us identify 2 of our highest value segments, which are consultants and agencies, and then marketing teams. Now, one thing to note is you can ask a single question or you can ask 2 at the same time. In this example here, you'll see we ask both which best describes your role at your company and then going back to authority and who they are, knowing that in this case, we really only best serve owners and founders, and then the revenue, which aligns to budget. And frankly, for this business unit, revenue also aligns to their fit and a bit of their urgency, because we know that depending on the revenue band they're in, the problems that they're likely feeling in that revenue band, we know we can solve. So what you want to do is ask yourself, what do I absolutely need to know in order to feel this prospect has the potential to be ready right now for my product or service? Now, one word of warning, don't ever do it. I've showed this before, last module, but again, conversion rate will decrease as you add more fields. So just be prepared with that, because as conversion rate decreases, so will your lead cost will increase. Your leads will be more expensive, and that's something to watch. But if your leads are more expensive, but they're worth that much more and have a higher return, then we're in a win-win situation, because one, we're willing and able to spend more to acquire our ideal customer, and two, they spend more, so we get a higher ROI from our ad spend, right? So just remember that, especially as you add more and more fields, you will likely see a decrease in your form conversion rate. So finding that balance between how much data do I need to know if someone's ready now, to how many form fields do I have, and how much are we willing to sacrifice conversion rate and overall cost per lead. So making sure you find that balance. Last step, number 4, is direct their journey. And I'm going to show you how we do this in a second. So for unqualified leads, or more of those like not yet leads, they're not ready now. When I'm calling them unqualified, it just means they're not in that ready now 3 to 6% ideal lead coming through. These are the types we would go and still send to a tripwire entry point offer, that low to high. Great way to monetize some of your traffic. It's a good entry to the brand, gets them to learn a little bit about you, and at that more surface level and kind of entry point. This might be where we send them to a free trial, flash sale. This may just be where we give them just a coupon code, very, very generic, basic coupon code for our store. Now, on the flip side, if they are ready now and they're qualified from a ready now standpoint, right? Then what we might want to do is send them to our webinar or VSL that's going to lead to a higher end offer, or maybe booking a meeting with the sales call, or booking a sales call with our sales team, or booking a demo of our software. Maybe we send them into something to apply. If we've got, if we work directly with people one-on-one, there might be an application. We could also send them just like a special offer or a bundle. So maybe if they are ready now and I'm on an e-commerce brand, I'm going to send them to a different sales page or landing page that has much higher end bundles, right? Something that where my typical price point might be $200, but here I'm going to take them to this ideal bundle that has everything we sell, and it's like $800, but we know they're the right person for it. So that's another place you can send them to. How do we separate out and kind of split this journey? There's a few tools. There's an example there. A lot of them do it now. High level HubSpot, Typeform, Elementor, Gravity Forms, Jot Forms. I'm sure there's more. If you're trying to figure out if this tool will allow you to do what I'm about to show you, just search your form builder support docs for either dynamic or conditional redirect, depending on what they call it. And they should have documentation on how to pull it. But what we're doing here then is we've got someone that opts in. There you see your opt-in form. I know it's small, but that's got those 2 questions I was showing you. From there, this is from the back end of our CRM, right? And so what we're going to do here is this conditional redirect is going to say, first and foremost, if someone comes through and they are a role of, in our case, an individual contributor, a manager of that level, or director, we are going to automatically call that person disqualified. We know we only really work with, for this business unit, like C-suite and above, mostly owner founder. So then we're going to take them over to our unqualified offer, which is a $79 entry point offer. The next one being there, the next qualifier is revenue, right? So if they're under basically 500K or less in revenue, we're probably not the right fit for them. With what we do, it's probably not the number one problem that they're having, most likely not the right fit for our core offers. We're also going to send them to that unqualified $79 entry point offer. Now, for the rest of the people that are coming through, we're going to know they're doing over $500,000 a year, and that they are most likely owner, founder, CEO. So we do want to give them that next step offer. We know those people are our ideal prospects. So we're going to send them to a book a meeting page. So we've got 2 different pages, 2 different journeys. Depending on the questions and how they answer them is how we route them to those different places. Now, if you want to get super advanced with it and you know what you're doing, you can actually pixel these pages separately, either with separate conversion events. So your higher qualified lead ones might be a lead conversion event, and your lower qualified might be something else you want to do it as like a custom conversion. The other thing you can do is just not pixel people that come through and hit your unqualified page. You could just remove or suppress the Facebook pixel from that page. Doing that, you're sending back to Facebook the people that you want more of, those qualified people. So little side hack, if you want to try that, but I wouldn't get too in the weeds. This just in and of itself will help immensely with the leads that are coming through. So, all right, so let's wrap this all up with taking action on our advanced segmentation. Kind of talk through the key steps for segmentation. Number one, we want to map out our segments. Again, going back to identifying the behaviors and criteria of those high value leads, those 10x more valuable leads. Who are those people? What do we know about them? What criteria do they need to have to know they are those high value leads that we're looking for, that Goldilocks lead, and ready now? Then we want to draft our key questions. So creating 2 to 3 simple binary questions for segmentation. Again, kind of 3 categories, right? There's urgency, there's budget, and there's fit. Again, a lot of the times fit is covered by the lead magnet itself. So we're looking more at urgency and budget. But again, I would do the exercise of drafting a question or 2 for each, and then say which of these questions would be highest leverage in our funnel to know who these ready now high value segment leads are. We're going to enhance our forms. So taking those 1 to 2 questions up to 3 questions, depending on what type of information data you need, add those ready now questions to your form and test your dynamic redirects to make sure that if they're qualified or unqualified, they're going to separate places, and make sure that those separate places, you're aligning your offers to the right people, right? So align your high value leads to your high value offer, your not quite ready now leads to your other more nurturing low entry point offers to move them further along the cycles, the ones that aren't ready right now, but maybe later. And that will bring together your advanced segmentation. This is really great to just really segment out those 3 to 6% that are going to give you that higher ROI. I hope you have success with it. And I hope this is helpful in getting more quality and higher value leads that give you a higher return on your ad spend and on your investment.